This is just a lean, mean, violent, bloody, well-paced horror film.
You know, it doesn't seem like much. It's kind of an offhanded, drunky conversation between a patron and a bartender, but so much unfolds during that short scene.
It was so terrifying, he locked up his house and turned on the security system and poured himself a scotch.
Hope you've had a good meal, something that sticks to the ribs, because you're going to need something to soak it up. We're headed to the bars. Going to get liquored up. Not really, but we're headed there for some horror. Our favorite bars in horror movies, and this one is this an homage or is this an original idea?
It was a little bit homage, yeah. No, we stole it from, I think it was Brandon and Jason were talking about it a while back, a couple of months back at a Fright Club happy hour, appropriately enough.
That is very appropriate.
Having some libations in a bar before we watch a horror movie. We were talking about, yeah.
That tends to happen. So welcome. This is the Fright Club podcast. She is Hope Madden.
He's George Wolf.
And we are from madwolf.com. So we'll just get an early plug right now for the next Fright Club Live, which is coming up soon. That is going to be October the 9th at Gateway Film Center, where we always are, and we're going to watch the Train to Busan. That's a favorite.
It is. Love that one. It's so, exciting and fast-moving, and it made me cry the first time I saw it. And so, I'm excited. I'm super excited to get to see that again on the big screen.
And that's one that everybody has seen. You rarely find anyone that has a bad word, a negative view of that film.
Oh, exactly.
So I think everybody that hasn't seen it, and there's always a good number of people, which I love, that come out to Fright Club Live that haven't seen the film. I think they're going to like it. And vehicular horror. That should be interesting as well. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. Well, actually, we should back up a little bit because last Fright Club, it was amusements.
Yeah.
And we got some nice reaction to our trip to the amusement parks.
We did. Well, I want to thank Seth, who really enjoyed the show. He came out to the Fright Club Live and said some nice things on Twitter. And then Phantom Dark Dave, our other good friend, who called the number one. He knew it from the beginning, and he was correct, of course.
And so did Richard.
Yeah, so did Richard.
Yeah.
You're right. Richard also called number one. And then the other thing, though, that just made us think of Sid Haig's passing.
Yeah, I'm sure if you're a horror fan, you know that. And really, it's something that wasn't hugely surprising because we had heard that he was in bad ill health.
Yes.
But
it's still always sad. I mean, you were saying when we were talking a few podcasts back and about gas stations, and Jen Dreadful, right, brought up House of a Thousand Corpses, and we just got on a rant about Sid Haig because he just, he's been in everything. We saw him one time late at night at Burns Pub. They had Heart to Heart, that old 80s TV show. For some reason, was on TV, and there he was, Sid Haig.
And you know what was really nice? After the news got out of his passing, I started to see so many people on Facebook sharing pictures they had taken with him over the years.
Twitter as well. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, at all the different conventions. And time after time, people were saying just how nice he was.
Yeah.
Went out of the way to take a picture, stage a picture, a certain thing, instead of just come and get out. So that was really nice. So, he had an incredible career, not just in horror movies and not just in bad 80s TV shows with Stephanie Powers and Robert Wagner.
Oh, my God. That's right. That's who they were.
But he goes back to, some of those Pam Grier movies. I mean, just what a career. What a career. So, R.I.P. for Sid Haig. Okay, so we're going to get into the bars, and we should say we both have some qualifications here. We both tended
spent
bar.
a little time in bars.
Yeah, we have. Well, we spent some time. We also worked in bars.
That's right, we did.
I tended bar for years, and then and so did you. So. It's something that it was great at the time. Never want to do it again.
Oh, my God, no.
Never want to do it again, especially when we think about some of the places here in town that both of us worked and some of the worst bathrooms.
Oh,
we rank those sometimes.
We do.
Remember the bathroom in that one place you worked?
Oh, yeah. Street scene. It was like a war zone, that bathroom.
It was. Oh, we could have a podcast just on the stories from our days bartending. But we're not going to do that.
He peed. That's a punchline from one of George's stories. He peed.
Yeah, that one got out of control fast. That might have been the genesis for the idea in Anchorman for things escalated quickly. Because, boy, when that guy peed on the floor, things escalated quickly. You know what? Come to a Fright Club Live. Seek me out. I'll tell you that story. I will. but not now. We got to get to bars in horror, and we have some fuzzy math. It's been a while, but we have some fuzzy math.
We do. So mainly, the movies that are on the list are movies where the bar figures very prominently in the film.
Mm-hmm.
But there are so many great movies where the bar is just like a one-off, but you can't forget it, that I wanted to honor all of those and then choose one to be the one that actually made the list.
Okay.
So the number 6 is one where there's just really 2 scenes, but beloved to us.
Oh, beloved. And at number 6, 1981, from An American Werewolf in London, The Slaughtered Lamb.
You're right, it is a pub. Okay, well, what do you say? We go in for a little food, huh? Drink, rest?
The Slaughtered Lamb?
That's kind of strange.
Where's the lamb?
It's probably inside getting cold. Come on.
No, really. What kind of ad is that for a pub?
I don't know. Would you rather the Hilton?
All right. But whatever happens, it's
my
your fault. Right.
All right, come on.
Excuse me. Well, what's that star on the wall for?
This one for us is memorable just because of the guy that says, "Enough!
That's enough.
Enough!" That's one of those movie quotes we just say to ourselves all the time.
We do.
And you think it would be when, like, we're fighting or something, and, "Oh, enough!" But no, we just, "Enough!" So feel free to take that for yourself.
Did you want some more soup? Enough! Yeah.
But so shout out to Brian Glover. He's the actor.
Yes, he is. He's the enough guy. Exactly.
Yeah. When the other guy starts spilling too many secrets,
Yes.
he shuts him up with a good old enough.
Yeah,
So,
but
hats
before
off to
that
him.
happens, of course, because the other guy, he's spilling secrets to the doctor who's trying to figure out what's going on.
Right.
But, back at the bar, right, when poor David and Jack are freezing and on the moors, and they go in to have just something warm, and,
In those puffy
they
jackets.
do have those puffy jackets on.
I'm surprised it didn't really protect him from a werewolf. Those things are so puffy when you look at it now. But yeah, they don't exactly get a warm welcome.
They don't. And I wonder this to myself, why? I've always wondered, why did they throw them out when they knew what was going to happen?
Because that's like say it with me, lamb to the slaughter. That's what, no, seriously.
I know.
That's what they pretty much do. Because they know what's going to happen. Even though beware the moors and all that, they know what's going to happen. They know what's out there.
Yeah, but they didn't have to do it because what they did was, of course, create another werewolf.
Yeah,
They didn't have to
exactly
do
right.
it.
Yeah.
It's a catalyst. I understand that, but I'm just thinking to myself, Dan, they are mean. But it's a great scene, and the Slaughtered Lamb is such a great name for a bar, and especially Griffin Dunn's character is like, what is that?
I know.
What is that about?
And the sign. Not exactly welcoming.
No.
But they go in anyway. It's actually, it's in the village, the tiny village of Crickendarn, which takes the place of East Proctor in the movie. And the Slaughtered Lamb is actually a cottage located there. It's about 6 miles southeast of Bulloth Wells, Wales. And that's a place to mark on if you're going to take a vacation looking for landmarks, and you find yourself in Wales.
Oh, yeah.
First of all, beware the moors.
Oh, yeah,
but,
exactly.
go track that down because that would be interesting.
Oh, my God, that'd be the
The
best.
little cottage. The little bloody cottage.
But there are some other, movies that have one or two great scenes that take place in the bar, and the rest of the film, it's not necessary to move the plot forward, but it's still a great scene.
Yeah,
and
I think because the rest of the movies on this list are really centered around the entire. Yeah, the
it's
entire
very
film is
important.
centered in the bar.
But there is a great bar scene in Near Dark where Bill Paxton, they're trying to get the newbie to go ahead and drink some blood and finalize his transformation. So they're all just in there hanging out, and they're going to kill so many rednecks in this bar. But it's just Bill Paxton in all of his glory.
Right.
It's such a fun scene.
Right. But you're right. That's just a one-off. Same as the very, very memorable bar scene in Calvaire.
Oh, my God, I love that scene so much. Of course, we love everything about the movie Calvaire, and anytime I can get it on a list, I try. But that dance, holy Lord.
That same scene made it into our dance countdown.
Yes, it did.
Yeah, so it qualifies as a one-off for a bar and then a very memorable dance because it's really the dance that drives that scene, not the bar so much.
No, you're right.
The piano melody. Could you call that a melody? And the dance. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, and then A Nightmare on Elm Street 2. That bar scene, it's funny that when the film came out, it seemed as though people didn't realize what a sort of an iconically gay film A Nightmare on Elm Street 2 is. And it is, top to bottom, every scene. Sorry.
I heard what you did there.
Sorry. But the bar scene is really what clinches it for you. Like, if you were curious for a while, then
you just won't stop, will you?
then you get to this bar scene, you're like, oh, I see. And then it goes from there to the gym and to the whips and the chains. It's like, oh, I may as well be watching Hellraiser. This movie is
Just
so
cue the village people and
proud.
go with it.
Yeah, but the bar scene is really where, even if the character hasn't quite figured out that the movie he's in is very, very gay, the audience has. And it's a great scene. And I love that, especially only 2 films into the franchise, that the franchise took that turn. I'm like, good for you.
Exactly. No, it is interesting. And one we just saw just a few weeks ago, Knife Plus Heart.
Yeah, and there are a couple of good bar scenes in that one, but the one that really I'm thinking about is kind of a cabaret that the main character goes to and watches, some cabaret and then has some cocktails. And it's a moving scene, and it's a weird one, but it's also, I thought, very, very memorable.
Mm-hmm. True.
And then Irreversible. Yeesh.
Yeah, and if you remember the name of that bar, it's the Rectum. And some guy gets a serious beatdown, and that is very, very memorable. Plus, with almost anything with Gaspar Noé, it's the way he shoots it.
Of course.
And he just goes through that sea of people with that camera until the one man is found who he thinks is the perpetrator of the rape. And but anyway, Irreversible, that's a very memorable scene in the bar. So those were a few that just have that one instead of being centered around the movie centered around the bar for pretty much its entirety. And that's where we're going to go for the rest of this list, correct?
Correct.
All right. And we made pains to find out, or at least try to find out, the name of the bar in each of these movies. Some were harder to find out than others.
Yeah. Some you just know, but there were others where, it took some sleuthing.
Yeah. So at number 5, in case you've forgotten the name of the bar in The Overlook, in The Shining from 1980, The Gold Room.
No charge to you, Mr. Torrance.
No charge?
Your money's no good here. Orders from the house.
Orders from the house.
Drink up, Mr. Torrance.
I'm the kind of man likes to know who's buying their drinks, Lloyd.
That's a scene that we quote a lot as well. A little slow tonight. I mean, you can just go on and on and on. So many quotes with Lloyd in this scene.
Not only that, but recently at the Gateway Film Center, they had an art exhibit of celluloid. It was still images, actually the film itself.
Yeah.
And that's the image that we bought was that big, happy Jack Nicholson face after he makes that funny joke, little slow tonight, isn't it, Lloyd?
Yeah, that was an exhibit from Rachel.
That's right.
The tech.
Rachel Barbash, who is a projectionist there.
Yeah, at the Gateway. And a really, really nice exhibit. And I'd like to think that we'd like to fool ourselves in that we only bought that one. But that's not the case.
No, we
not
dropped a lot of cash.
Yeah, it's such a memorable scene, not only in how it starts out, and of course the interaction between Lloyd and Mr. Torrance, but then where it goes.
Oh, yeah.
Because when he eventually meets up with Grady.
Oh, yeah.
And we've talked about that before. Even though that doesn't happen in the bar, it happens in the bathroom.
Right.
But
because of what happens in the bar.
Because of what happens in the bar, yeah. But that power shift, I love it so much.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to differ with you, sir. But you are the caretaker. You've always been the caretaker.
I mean, it's really, the whole movie hinges on that scene.
Oh, yes. Yeah, because that's what... I'm just laughing because I immediately started thinking of The Shinning.
Of course you did.
The Simpsons. And of course, the bartender was played by Moe.
Of course it was.
You know, me and the ghouls were a little unhappy about how it's going here. But no, it's so creepy, and the cold, sterile nature of Lloyd.
Yes.
You know, contrasting with the crazy manic nature of Jack Nicholson works perfectly.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, as you start figuring out that what mission they want him to accomplish. Yeah, it is. It's really the centerpiece of the entire film. And actually, it is, speaking of catalysts, it's the catalyst for another of the crazy theories about the hidden meanings in The Shining. There are so many. I mean, if you haven't seen the documentary Room 237,
you should.
Please. I mean, some of these are just out there. But there's one that centers on the Gold Room that suggests that Kubrick used that setting as a launching point for a statement on America's abandonment of the gold standard, by which U.S. currency was backed up by corresponding reserves of gold. And this goes on and on and on. That one, this theory was not included in Room 237,
No.
but they can't fit them all in. There's
No, they
so
can't.
many out there.
I know.
And this one, I mean, you want to hear about it, you want to read about it, look it up. It's out there, and it's crazy. But if you want to take this scene, though, as far as character development, there's so much going on in this scene because, of course, here is where Mr. Torrance finally gets back on the booze.
Right.
You know, white man's burden, Lloyd.
Yep.
And then he's failing his responsibilities as a husband and father, and then he's paying the price for sliding back into substance abuse. And it's right there that he chooses that moment to pretty much confess his sins to Lloyd.
Right. It's a very slyly complicated scene.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it doesn't seem like much. It's kind of an offhanded, drunky conversation between a patron and a bartender, but so much unfolds during that short scene. But then again, I mean, it's really the heartbeat of the film.
Yeah, exactly right. And that's why it's included on our list, and it comes in at number 5, The Gold Room and the Overlook from The Shining. Moving up to number 4, this is one that I couldn't have told you the name of this bar in this movie, but it's a movie that we've talked about a few times because it's so much fun. From 2012, the movie is Grabbers, and the bar is Mayor's.
It's always the quiet places where the mad shit happens.
They're pilot whales. They died at sea.
I call it myself a sea monster.
This is something totally different. Something alien.
You don't believe me?
If we taint our blood with booze, we're poisonous to eat. Stay out of the rain, and we drink.
Tequila! It's out of the door. You got it all under control. There's none trying to kill you.
It's a pub.
It's a poob! Yeah, and in this one, the bar is so important to the movie because it's all about being invaded by blood-sucking aliens, and you have to get drunk. That's the only way to survive.
That's
so
right,
you
because
want to be in a bar.
Your blood is poison to them at that point. And it's an Irish film. And it's a profoundly Irish film.
Yeah, it is director John Wright and writer Kevin Lahane. And it's so much fun.
It's incredibly fun. It's such a great concept, that...
It is. It's one of those that's so genius. It's so simply genius. You're like, that's one of the... Why didn't I think of that?
Like when the first time we saw 40 Days of Night, and it's
Yeah.
like, oh
Of
my God,
course.
it's night for that long. Why
Right.
didn't everybody said a vampire movie there? Of course.
Right.
Yeah, it's just absolutely ideal. And the execution is hilarious. And it's always fun, this idea that basically they're all just going to get plowed. And so all your characters get very drunk. And of course, you've got the very straight-laced cop. So watching her get drunk is really the fun thing. But also, of the bars on this list, Mayor's is the one I'd want to go to. There's just, it's just a lot of camaraderie there. It's a lot of, drinking.
Yeah. And really a great idea from the director, John Wright. He took the actors Richard Coyle and Ruth Bradley out drinking before he started filming, and then filmed them while they were drunk. And so they discovered a lot of quirks about themselves. Seriously, they were drunk that they used in the performance. I don't think I'd want to see that, really. You get out and you have a few.
I know, I don't want to see me drunk, no.
You wake up the next day, did I say something out of line? What did I, why?
You're a really happy drunk.
I am.
You
I
are
am.
a really happy drunk.
I'm not a violent fighting drunk at all. That's right.
You're just happy and sweet.
But still, I don't want to
No.
see it. But I think that's a great vehicle to use to try to let the actors, use their
that's
performance.
brilliant.
But I also love the catalyst. Wow, we keep saying that word. It's a good word. The inspiration for writer Kevin Lahane's idea. He was backpacking across, well, just really across the country, and he kept being bitten by mosquitoes. And he heard an urban legend that eating Marmite, it's kind of like Vegemite, I guess, over there, vitamin B rich spread prevents mosquito bites. And he started wondering whether mosquitoes got hung over if they bit drunk people's blood, and then boom, then it's like there, and that's
Premise Beach.
It's right. It's right. He's getting savaged by mosquitoes, and look what came out of it. A really fun horror comedy.
That's exactly what this movie is. It is so much fun. And you know what? For a low-budget sci-fi monster movie, it looks great.
It really does. And it doesn't take long for you to notice that the grabber is kind of characteristic of the face hugger. In Alien. And it has some different kind of nods, homages, if you will, to especially when recreating that famous scene about "Get away from her, you bitch."
Oh yeah,
love that. So if you're gonna go with it, go with it. I like that. Just
embrace it.
Just have fun with it. And this one is noteworthy for me because it contains the Wilhelm scream.
What?
Yes, when the skipper is grabbed overboard. Hear a little Wilhelm scream.
You know
in there.
what we'll have to do at some point, George? This will be on you. Podcast of just the best Wilhelm scream movies.
Oh, man. Yeah, that's, you mean I got to do it? Jeez Louise. I think you're right. I think I'd like to hang out at Mayer's for Grabbers. I don't want to have anyone filming me. I don't want to see it the next day. But as for a fun film, this one is Grabbers from 2012, number 4 on our list of bar horror. And moving up to number 3, this is one probably that jumped to the top of your mind. It did me when we started thinking about this one. This is from 2004, Shaun of the Dead. And this title of a bar didn't take any research at all. Of course, it's the Winchester.
Where's safe? Where's familiar? Where can I smoke? Take car, go to Mum's, kill Phil, grab Liz, go to the Winchester, have a nice cold pint, and wait for all this to blow over. How's that for a slice of fried gold?
Yeah, boy! How's that for a slice of fried gold? There are so many quotable lines from this movie.
There
it's
really
just
are.
lousy with them. I cannot believe it's 15 years old. That's crazy to me.
It really is. It really is. It's one that, as we've talked about this film and the whole trilogy many times, part of that Cornetto trilogy that is with Hot Fuzz.
Oh, Hot Fuzz is so great.
And then The World's End, which has so many bars in it itself. That's just a trip through a bunch of bars.
Yep.
And, of course, Cornettos appear in the film because Edgar Wright says he once ate a Cornetto to get over a hangover, and thought it would be funny if Ed did the same thing after a night of drinking. So it just kind of became a running gag, and now it's the name of that trilogy. But this one, I think it was the first introduction to Edgar Wright's style of filmmaking. And one of the best ways to see that is it's so visual.
It's
so
amazingly so.
It really is, especially when they're breaking down their ideas. Well, we heard some of it in that clip.
Yeah.
About what's the best way to deal with this.
Yeah. And then, we'll go get Mom. And then they're all like happy and dancing out,
Yeah.
and everybody's so happy. And sorry, Philip. And they just, it's
Right.
it's a really visually interesting film. And the visuals move the story forward so that
Right.
it always feels very quick paced.
That's the thing. We always talk about in our movie reviews of horror films or any film that it's a visual medium. And so you want to show, not tell. And this type, Edgar Wright, I think in this movie especially, combines the two so well.
Yeah, he does.
Because he's not just showing,
No.
and he's not just telling.
Right.
He kind of lets the showing fill in the gaps, and as you just said, move it forward just a little bit. And plus, it's darn funny.
It's so funny, and it has many homages, mainly to Night of the Living Dead, of
so
course. I
many.
mean, but then it also just does really funny things like pop music of the '80s, and every scene is crammed with some funny visual or a great line.
Yeah.
And then, of course, everything takes you back to the Winchester.
Yeah, and as you said, so many homages. And I also love that you get hints, but you're never really told just what caused this zombie invasion.
Yeah.
It's sort of like when they in the Ocean's 11 when they start to tell Matt Damon, whatever you do, don't, and then they're pulled away. They start to tell, and then something gets interrupted, which I think is funny. I mean, it just adds to the fun of this. And then I love it at the end, just before the credits, Simon Pegg makes a joke reference to the sequel that's coming soon, Shaun of the Dead 2, From Dusk Till Shaun, which is a great title. Why that hasn't happened, I don't know. Get on that. Yeah, From Dusk Till Dawn is great.
You know, I think we missed the opportunity to mention is also the songs. The way he uses music, especially in the Winchester, especially the jukebox songs, but the way he uses it, and you see it again, of course, in Baby Driver, but it's so much fun. Everything about this movie is so full of energy. It's a joy to watch.
Yeah, no doubt about it. The Winchester from Shaun of the Dead in 2004, number 3 on our list of horrific bars. Moving it up to number 2. Another one that immediately came to mind when you gave me this topic. Actually, I think I mentioned it last podcast, did I not?
You mention it a lot.
From 1996. Let's all go to the Titty Twister, From Dusk Till Dawn.
For your viewing pleasure, the mistress of the macabre, the epitome of evil, the most sinister woman to ever dance on the face of this earth. Fight this! Lowly dog, bow your head. Kneel and worship at the feet of Santanico Pandemonium.
It's a memorable scene. It's a memorable. Well, I shouldn't just say the scene because this one is. So at least the last, what do you think, third of the movie is set in the bar.
Oh, you know, I bet it's 2/3 of the movie is set in the bar.
Because
yeah,
they have to get there.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're making the trip.
Yeah.
And then once they get there, then things start to happen because that's, as you find out later, those are the hours of the bar from dusk till dawn. There's a good reason for that.
There is a good reason for that. And Santanico Pandemonium. That's a good name for a stripper.
Yeah, that was taken from an old movie, right?
Yeah.
That was from 1975, Mexican horror movie.
Yeah. It's kind of funny because normally Santanico, it would not be a female. But they don't change it. He definitely says. And if Danny Trejo says it, I'm going to believe it's true. I mean, I'm not going to challenge Danny Trejo.
Exactly right. And that was from, it's a 1975. We haven't seen it, but apparently Tarantino had seen that movie on the shelves of a video store that he worked in, which is very famously, most people know he worked in a video store. Originally, though, when he wrote it, the character's name was Blonde Death. But then once Salma Hayek got involved, and he remembered that title of that movie. It worked well, and the band that plays along as she's dancing that features Robert Rodriguez in the band.
Oh, okay.
And it also features
Tito and the Tarantulas, right?
Tito and the Tarantulas, very good.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, that's we were thinking the other day about a countdown of fictional bands.
Oh, we
in
were.
Movies. That's a good one.
That is a good one.
That's a good one. But also, along with Robert Rodriguez, the drummer for Oingo Boingo.
Nice.
Johnny Hernandez is in there, too. And they've got a really cool, it's a cool song.
Oh, I love that song. I love the guitar.
Yeah.
I love that song.
Very hypnotic, very hypnotic instrumental.
That's what you love about that scene.
That is. That's all they really need. In fact, you can just turn away. You don't have to watch it at all.
But the whole bar, they make great use of the entire bar, of behind the bar itself, of the back room, the stock room, and then, of course, of what's beneath the building. Because I have recurring dreams that take place in bars where I have worked. It's usually
There's
because
more glassware to wash.
I'm still washing glassware.
Exactly.
But it's just funny how often sort of a dream that I'm having is for one reason or another set in one of these bars. And it's so funny to me the way he makes use of all of the space for different action sequences.
Explore the studio
He explores
space.
the space.
And he didn't have a choreographer for the dance for Salma Hayek. He just told Robert.
He just had a big-ass snake.
Robert Rodriguez just told her to feel the music and dance to it. He did the same thing with Jessica Alba in Sin City. Just go for it. But yeah, that big-ass snake, and apparently Salma Hayek had a real fear of snakes, and she had to really spent 2 months, I guess, in therapy to overcome that fear to do that scene.
That's insane.
It is, but
that's a lot to put a person through. You think they couldn't just come up with a different prop?
Just a fake one. Just set it there. But that's a big-ass snake.
It is a big-ass snake. And she's a little person, so it just, it could easily have swallowed her.
Also, one of the other things I love about this movie is the character of Earl McGraw, Michael Parks, the great Michael Parks.
I love Michael Parks.
He's killed in this film, but that doesn't matter. He comes back in Kill Bill, Death Proof, and Planet Terror, which is great.
Of course.
Because every character that he plays, especially in Tarantino movies, is fantastic. Esteban.
Yeah.
I love Esteban. But yeah, this one is the titty twister, and the exterior set for that bar, it actually burned down at one point, which caused incredible delays in the filming. And Cheech had to get a new job, I guess. But yeah, once the dance commences and then things go haywire, things escalate quickly.
They do.
It turns into so much fun.
It does.
With Fred Williamson, of course, and then Tom Savini.
Oh yeah.
And the crotch gun.
Yeah, the crotch gun. Of course, Harvey Keitel, I know I've mentioned this many times, but Harvey Keitel always reminds me of my dad, in particular this movie. He looks so much like him. He's dressed like him. He works for the church. He drives a big-ass RV. He basically is my dad. And he dies, George. He dies in an ugly way, and it makes me sad every time.
Yeah. Originally, too, as bad as it gets in there, originally the fight scenes were longer and a lot gorier. But were eventually cut and kind of toned down for rating and for pacing.
You know, what's funny about that, though, is that second half of the movie, which is very much Robert Rodriguez, not the writing, but the direction, it's not the kind of violence that really gets to you, but the violence in the first half of the movie back in Texas, that'll stay with you.
Especially Tarantino's character and that woman that Clooney leaves him alone with. That's
John Hawkes, everything.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, it's a violent movie, and people mostly only remember the fun half, but that first half in Texas, that's nasty.
You're right.
That's nasty business.
That's really a lot more disturbing because the second one takes on a little bit more of a, not outright comical, but you know what I mean? That just, it's not as disturbing.
No.
It's fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm with you there. But number 2 on our list of horrific bars, The Titty Twister, From Dusk Till Dawn, 96.
And before we jump to number 1, there is another movie. So we wound up here at the end with movies that are almost entirely set inside bars. And there's one, it's just not quite good enough of a film to make this list, but I want to mention anyway, which is Feast, because it is a fun movie and it is exclusively set in, except for like a couple of exteriors. The whole movie takes place inside of a bar, and it is fun. I mean, it's very flippant, and it's got its own tone and style. It's got a great cast, especially for a low-budget movie. It was one of those Project Greenlight films.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just thoroughly enjoyable. It's just not quite to the level of film. I mean, certainly it's not going to vie for one of these top 3 spots, but I didn't want to exclude it completely.
Yeah, good enough. And before we get to number 1 as well, let's give a shout-out to the Nightmares Film Festival, which is coming up fast, October 24th through 27th, of course, at the Gateway Film Center, our home away from home here in Columbus, Ohio. We've said it before, we'll say it again. I'm telling you, people, it is an incredible, incredible event. And just the 4th year now.
Yeah.
And it has risen to a plateau in film festivals, especially horror film festivals. That's really, the growth has been just unprecedented.
It really has. And if you look at the lineup for this year, I mean, it's stunning. It's breathtaking. We have so many, The Lodge is going to be there.
So many
Swallow,
great movies.
And then a bunch of films that probably people haven't heard of yet, like Reckoning, that is just remarkable.
I'm telling you,
cannot wait for people to see.
Reckoning, not only one of the best films at this festival, but I think for both of us, one of the best films we've seen this year.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, period.
Yeah.
It's great, and the filmmakers are going to be here. It's just a tremendous opportunity not only to see these films, features and shorts, but to get together with the community of horror fans and filmmakers and actors, and it's just incredible. So,
our friend, filmmaker Timothy Troy, who was there last year with the movie. He's going to be. He let us know. He listens. Also, hello. He let us know that he's going to be back out. So it'll be good to see him. But yeah, I mean, every year we get to see a lot of familiar faces that we don't see otherwise, and it is such a great time, and it's such a great lineup.
Yeah, and friends are reconnected with, and new friends are made, and we'd love to see you. They're all over social media. Nightmares Film Festival. If you need some more information, or you can just message us. We'll be happy to steer you in the right direction. But again, October 24th through 27th here in Columbus. So we'll move up to number 1, and this is one where I don't think it was possible to find the actual name of this bar.
No, it wasn't.
We tried.
Yes.
But all the action happens because of a catalyst that took place in The Green Room from 2015.
Gentlemen, you're trapped. Things have gone south. It won't end well.
You can't keep us here, man.
We're not keeping you. You're just staying.
Shoot who is left. Let him bleed.
Get ready to run.
Here we go.
Careful now.
This'll be over soon, gentlemen.
This is just a lean, mean, violent, bloody, well-paced horror film.
Yeah, it really is. So it's Jeremy Saulnier who had previously done Blue Ruin, which was great, not horror. And before that,
Murder
Party, which is super fun.
Yep.
But this, to me, I mean, this was, I'm sure we had it as the best horror film of that year. I mean, it's just a visceral nightmare, and it's so smart, and it's very punk rock, which I love. And Patrick Stewart, who thought that was who was getting out of that van?
Yeah, great. He's great, and everybody is. Of course, Anton Yelkin.
Oh,
yeah. It's just another reminder that his a real tragic passing. But and Imogene Poots is great in it as well.
Horrible haircut.
Yeah.
Worst haircut ever.
But Anton is in band, the Ain't Rights, and they end up taking this gig in a real skinhead type of hangout, and they witness something in the green room they shouldn't have. And then, as Patrick Stewart's character says, it's not going to end well.
No.
It's not going to end well.
Boy, it sure doesn't.
It doesn't, and it turns into a fight for their lives. And like I said, it's lean and mean and clever. Takes a couple of nice plot turns,
it does.
And it just once it hits the gas, it just it really goes for it. And Patrick Stewart's character is great, especially that conversation through the door.
Oh yeah.
And originally, Saulnier he filmed both actors, but then because he wanted Patrick Stewart to emote like he is going to be on screen, and then just took all that away, and it's so effective.
It really is.
All you hear
my
is
God,
that
and
voice.
that scene when that arm goes, oh my God, so many bad decisions are made there. And the dogs. We still have to do the dog podcast coming up. We got to remember this one because those
and
dogs.
that's a little clever twist about the dogs that I love that I won't spoil, but that involves the dogs that I love. But you're right, and it's one that Patrick Stewart, we should say Sir Patrick Stewart, by the way. He said in an interview that when he finished reading the script, he was at his country home in England. It was so terrifying, he locked up his house and turned on the security system and poured himself a scotch. He had to get over it.
Oh, I love him. And also, I think you got to point out Macon Blair, who plays a very similar role often, but he does it so well, and he does it so well in this movie.
Yeah.
Is like he's trying to be the reliable one, and yet, he's not really mean enough for this gig, and he's not really making... and then when he gets the red shoelaces, you're like, I don't know. I don't know. I thought he was a great counterpart to the very sort of level-headed, authoritative Darcy, Patrick Stewart's Darcy.
Yeah, and we talked about the movies that Saulnier had made before this, and one of the reasons he wanted to make it at this point in his career because he kind of felt he was on the up. And he wasn't sure he'd be offered the chance to make a movie as ultra-violent and as bleak as this. And he just wanted to go for it while he could, which was good instincts.
Yeah. Well, I know that it came from an idea that he did for like one of those 48-hour film projects that, you just set the whole movie. But I think it was Supernatural. Like you pull a card and it tells you. But it was set in a green room. And that was the germ of it. And then later he was like, I'm just going to scrap this whole thing because this is a great idea.
Yeah.
But, and it was.
Yeah, it is. And the actual venue, which we couldn't figure out the name of, if it's out there and we missed it, please let us know because we tried. But the venue in the film actually belongs to a man whose day job is building log homes. And Saulnier said he let us infest his property for several weeks building up the set, and that's where they found the home for the movie. Because it's out there.
Yeah.
I mean, unless they really did a good job making it look more secluded than it was, it really looks like a place that would be adopted by a group that doesn't want to be found.
Right. Well, it's set in Oregon, and I believe it was filmed in Oregon. And it's funny. Oregon is such a funny state because it's also really a hotbed of liberal activity, but it's like the Klan's outpost, and so it felt very. My brother lives out there. I'm not just randomly spouting facts about the state of Oregon, but it felt correct to me.
And another thing I love about this movie is the poster, because it does take you about 2 seconds to realize that looks like the cover of London Calling by The Clash. And that was, of course, very, very intended because of the punk rock connotation. So it's one of those that, even though it is violent and got some scenes where like, you just come out of it just, it was so much breakneck fun.
It was. Well, fun is probably the wrong word, but it was just so much adrenaline pumping through you while you watched it.
Yeah. And a great ending.
Yeah.
As we talk about those desert island bands and things like that, a great ending. And the interplay between Imogen Poots and...
She's perfect.
She really is.
She is so good in this.
And every time you talk about that bad hair, she's one of those actors who can really change her look.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Because I've seen her in a lot of movies where I think I know the face, and go, now, who is that again? And then you find, of course, it's Imogen Poots. And
for me, it's always that Sienna Miller.
Yeah, her too.
I never, ever, ever know it's her, ever. Right. You always have to tell me that's Sienna Miller. Like, damn it!
No, you're right. She's very good at it, too. But this one is all Green Room, and that... Yeah, she's very good at it, too. But Green Room is sitting at the top of our list of bar horror, horrific bars. We don't know the name of it. Again, if you know it, please let us know. Green Room's at the top. So other than that, what did we miss?
Well, I wanted to say thanks to Night of the Living Daddy Man, because he put together a list of, he culled from his Twitter followers the best horror movie podcasts, and we made that list.
All
Fright
right.
Club Pod made that list.
It's usually us making the list, and here's somebody else's, and we're glad to be on it.
That's
so
right.
Thank you.
And also we want to thank Jamie Ray, who, like Pine of Joe, has been re-listening, or maybe for the first time listening, from the beginning, from episode 1 forward. So hopefully he's up to the ones where we don't suck.
Hope so. Well, so yeah, let us know any movies that we missed, not only the name of the bar if we did miss that, but let us know your thoughts on this or anything that we talked about. Always glad to hear from you. Easy way to get a hold of us and keep this conversation going is on Twitter. We're at Fright Club Pod, or you can always find us on Facebook and Instagram. It is Mad Wolf Columbus, or the main website where you can find this podcast, our written movie reviews, our other podcast that covers all types of movies that come out every week called The Screening Room. All that is on the main website at madwolf.com. And we thank you so much for stopping by the Fright Club.
And wherever it is you happen to be listening, if you would take a minute to subscribe, rate, and review, we would be so happy.
We sure would. And we'd love to see you if you can for the next Fright Club Live. Again, that is October the 9th. Yeah, going to be right back at Gateway Film Center. Do a happy hour, do the podcast recording. Then we're going to watch Train to Busan as we talk about vehicular horror. So that'll be the next time. So until then, she is Hope Madden.
He's George Wolf.
And this is the Fright Club Podcast.
Stay frightful, my friends.
Hi, Lloyd. A little slow tonight, isn't it?